Hello, everyone, and welcome. My guests for this episode are Erin and Bruce Wilson. They are the proud parents of a fun-loving and overly energetic 15-year-old son with autism and limited language ability. He has gotten lost at school and camp in the past. Their organization, called If I Need Help, was created by Erin and her husband Bruce out of love and concern for their son. They felt that if he could wear his ID, if he were lost, there would be a way for someone to help him get home. Now there are over 16,000 people and growing worldwide with special needs that are members of If I Need Help, and Erin has created over 40 ID products and alerts to help our loved ones get home safely if the need arises. Erin and Bruce, welcome. I am so happy that you were able to join me today.
Thanks for having us.
So to begin, tell me about your story and why you are so passionate about what you do.
Well, our son has moderately severe autism, and he used to be very severe, so he's been improving with therapy and all the things that we're doing with him, but he's still impacted. And so if he were to be lost or to get away from us, be separated, he would not have a way to identify himself. And so he's partially verbal. We're working on him, being able to say our address and stuff, but even then it would just be, just an address without other communication things like, that guy just stabbed me in the foot, or anything else that's going on.
Or if you have severe allergies or other medical conditions, there would be no way for anyone to know.
Right, and right now with therapy, he's gotten so that he could say our telephone number, and it's understandable if the situation is perfect and he's speaking quietly and slowly and all that. But if he were like on the freeway at 2 a.m, talking to a strange policeman, I don't have any confidence that he's at that point to tell somebody his telephone number yet.
And my understanding from what you've told me before is that he has gotten lost in the past, and there's been an issue with that where he would wander away, or he's been in a position where he's actually been in danger because he has wandered away from the person who was taking care of him at that time. Is that correct?
Yeah, and he is super fast. He just suddenly just takes off lickety split. One time when he was in elementary school, he got lost. He had a one-on-one aide, and it was after drop-off. I don't know if he circled back or they forgot about him, but another mom found him by the gate. And thankfully, we have a daughter, and this woman's daughter was in my daughter's class, so she knew us, and so she knew about Jay. And then so she went over and got him and took him to the office. But otherwise, she was just, there's a kid, So thankfully, she saw him and took him in, and thankfully he didn't go outside the gate into where there's a street out there. And the other time he got lost was at his day camp. They do, every Wednesday they would do an excursion, and so they went down to California Adventure, and he was having lunch with them, and then suddenly he jumped up and went in between a wall and a fence where his aide couldn't fit through to follow him. And but she knew him very, very well and knew that he would run to the bathroom if he was to take off like that. So she followed him. She went into the bathroom and found him. But she said it was the scariest moments of her life.
Yeah, that can be very, very scary, especially when, if you turn your head for a moment and look back and your child is nowhere to be seen. That's a parent's worst nightmare. So these experiences prompted you to begin your nonprofit organization called If I Need Help. Tell me about what If I Need Help does, what it offers to people.
Well, after these things happened, my husband and I were just out to lunch and talking, and I said, I wish we could just stick a barcode on them. And that started this whole thing. And what we offer, it's a QR code, which is a barcode, and it can be scanned by a smartphone, or the unique number next to the code can be put into our website. And what it takes you is to the person's profile. And the caregiver sets it up. They put the person's picture, contact information, any kind of additional information. Usually they put the diagnosis. Some people write a whole novel in there. And it can be updated in real time, too. So let's say a different aide was taking them out on an excursion into the community. I could put that person's name and number into the profile and then delete it after they come home safely. And so we've expanded since we started this to that with the free membership, there's also an emergency Q&A section where they can answer questions and then print it out and keep it in their car, purse, or house to show a first responder during a crisis. And we also have a Hello Neighbor alert where it auto-populates with characteristics like may not respond to commands, things like that, but they can edit it and put in the picture and then give it to, the delivery people, the dog walkers, and, the eyes of the neighborhood, so that if they ever see the person alone or in danger, they can contact the family. And then also with the free membership, they can print out their own code and, tape it to their devices or their car seats or anything that, the person might have with them.
Yeah, and I have a disclaimer also, because Erin said at the beginning of that answer that we were at lunch, and she said, too bad we couldn't put a QR code on our son. And so Erin and I are married, and I said I agreed with her, and I dedicated the last 5 years of my life to that, and the next probably the rest of my career possibly. And I had a career in post-production before that. So I just want to go on the record as saying when my wife brings something up, I follow instructions.
Happy wife, happy life.
And that's not sucking up. Well, very, very much.
Well, that's very nice to hear. But what I also was hearing you say is that this is a free membership, which is amazing. And I guess you guys maintain the server, and how do you? I mean, how you dedicate obviously a lot of time and energy to this. How do you work on donations, or how do you subsidize being able to offer this as a free membership to everyone?
Well, our bird has 3 wings for revenue. One of the wings is donations and grants. Another is product sales. And what's the third one, honey?
I think you put the donations and grants together.
Oh, yeah. So our bird has 2 wings. Donation and grants on one.
He's going forward.
Yeah, and it's very important to us that we don't just get one major agency that we work with and then be totally dependent on that. Mm-hmm. We're working pretty heavily with a couple big sections of the state of California, the Inland Regional Center, and we're just about to start working with North LA, and it's really tempting to just get comfortable and go, okay, we can knock these things out and help the 70,000 consumers for these agencies, but I don't ever want to have all my eggs in one basket, because I think it would make it not only so that if something happened to that basket, we wouldn't have anything else, but we also would be, when you rely on something too much, you might not stick to your guns and do what's right or important. So I always want to have new things in the works. Erin's awesome at creating new products to help people that have different sensory needs than we've addressed before. We're continuously reaching out to new companies. We've been approved as vendors for a top 5 insurance company, and right now they're saying that we've been vetted, but they're wondering how they're going to bring us to market. So Yeah, so we're trying to keep a lot of irons in the fire.
So then from what I understand is clients of these regional centers would actually be able to obtain not only your services but also your products through the regional centers, as well as through whatever insurance companies you've been vetted by and so forth. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Inland Regional Center, we've been there with them for a couple years now, and 2 years, and everybody gets a starter kit who makes a request for a safety kit, and that has a code-only shoe tag and a caregiver lanyard in it. And then they have a choice of one of the 5 safety kits. And safety kit 1 has 2 bracelets in it, an ID card, a custom shoe tag, 2 patches, and am I forgetting one thing?
Bumper sticker? Caregiver lanyard?
Yep, that's what the starter kit. And then kit 2 has more patches in it and the custom shoe tag, and then 3 has pins and clips in it and the custom shoe tag, and then 4 has a custom keychain and the custom shoe tag, and then kit 5 has a dog tag rather than the shoe tag and an ID card. And so the way we have it set up is kit 1 is someone like my son who needs 24-hour care and has significant sensory issues, and you want what he's wearing to be very visible and that he can't remove it. And so each kit, as it goes up in number, it's for somebody who's less sensory and more independent in the community. So like kit 5, the person probably takes the bus around town, is independent, and might just sometimes have an anxiety attack or a physical issue like epilepsy where they want their information to be seen by others.
Yeah, and it's not every single person that's a member of the regional center doesn't get one. It's for people with communication issues, but when you look at the regional center...
Most of them have communication issues.
Yeah, because it's for people in California that have developmental disabilities, and that's autism and Down syndrome and epilepsy and other similar issues. And so the parent needs to make a request, and they've all been approved. So it's been going well.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And as you say, you're starting to expand into other regional centers, other insurance companies as the organization grows and becomes better known. What about law enforcement? Are they aware of you? Are they working with you at all?
Yeah, we have several different departments throughout the country that are referring us to their people. We have some grants where we've given products to some police departments. New York City Sheriff Department made a big purchase at the beginning of the summer, so now we're a vendor of New York City. And we have some other departments that are talking about doing some bigger things with us, about perhaps APIing their 911 into our system for when people opt in and that sort of thing, which once we get live with that, we can bring that nationally, and we'll be in a pretty good place.
And when you say APIing, some people may not know what that refers to. Can you put that in layman's terms?
I can. I can't say what the actual acronym stands for without Googling. But it's basically a way websites can talk to each other. We can have our developer set up our site so that someone with another site can get certain information from our site into theirs, so that their 911, for instance, if they were API'd into our site, they would be looking at their computer in their software, and they would click a button in their software, and our screen would open up. So it would basically look like it was all in their software.
Mm-hmm. Which is fabulous. Just the ability for somebody to do something as simple as, calling 911, to find, the connection for a lost child or whatever is just, what an incredible idea, what an incredible be for anyone with a child with special needs who has this kind of a concern.
That's my wife is really smart.
us.
Well, it certainly sounds that way. It certainly sounds that way. And not only children benefit by this, but what about, for example, older people with Alzheimer's? I mean, this has all sorts of possibilities that I can think of for other conditions as well. Have you approached it from that angle?
Yeah, absolutely. We're starting to get a lot of members with dementia and Alzheimer's and other conditions where I have to look it up to understand what it is. Yeah.
What Alzheimer's is?
No, not Alzheimer's, but other like Willie Prater syndrome, other things I had not been familiar with before.
Yeah, because I looked up Alzheimer's and I was like, wow, do people know about this? What is this?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And
I just mean like more rare, genetic things I had never heard of before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Erin we have our site, the way it works is we make wearable ID, and we have we haven't even counted in a long time, about 50 different things for ID and alerts. And our concept is that we don't want to be stuck on one thing and say, oh, that's our thing. We want to be able to help people with all kinds of different sensory issues. And so that's why we have multiple products. And we also have a caregiver-controlled special needs registry. And there's 3 parts to the registry. The first part is the public profile, which someone would see when scanning or entering the code on one of our wearable IDs. The second part is an emergency question and answer section, which is basically what a policeman would ask if there was a critical missing at your door. So that can be created in advance or updated in real time, printed out and kept for an emergency, or emailed during crises. And then we have a neighbor alert, which is a poster or a sheet that you can print out and give to your neighbors to give them a heads up on what's going on.
Well, I just think that this is an absolutely fabulous organization that you've created with, so much value, and something that will be so truly helpful for so many people in various populations in our community. So if our listeners have questions or want to know more about your organization and want to sign up for your organization, how can they contact you?
Yeah, the website is ifineedhelp.org. My email is Erin, ERIN, at ifineedhelp.org. And Bruce is Bruce at ifineedhelp.org. Yeah. And our phone number is 661-524-6732.
Yeah, and if you do a lot of stuff with us, we can make a Gilda at ifineedhelp.org.
Okay. Well, you know what? I may take you up on that. But I am going to repeat that information just to make sure that people got it. The organization is If I Need Help, and that's all with no spaces, .org. So that's IFINEEDHELP.org. And then your phone number is area code 661-524-6732. Is that correct?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, wonderful. Well, Erin and Bruce, I want to thank you so much for your time today, for sharing your story, and for the information about this wonderful organization that you've created. I know that many people will benefit greatly from knowing about it.
Aww.
And yeah. Thank you guys. Really, as a parent, of a child with special needs, I really, really, truly appreciate what you've done and what you continue to do. And I also want to thank our listeners for spending a part of their day with us. Mm-hmm. And at this point, Erin and Bruce, is there anything that you'd like to add before we say goodbye?
We could just randomly say something together in unison off the top of our heads, but it just didn't happen.
Okay. Well,
honey, 1, 2, 3. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. You are so welcome. Thank you again to our listeners. I'm Gilda Evans. Take care of yourself and that special person in your life.